The status of a Monday hearing into allegations against Judge Brett Kavanaugh remains in doubt. Lawyers for the woman accusing the judge of sexual misconduct say they want an investigation by the FBI. Only the White House can order the Bureau to get involved. But President Trump demurred Wednesday, instead urging Blasey Ford to appear before the committee. Her lawyer released a statement Wednesday evening, writing in part, quote, "The committee's stated plan to move forward with a hearing that has only 2 witnesses is not a fair or good faith investigation. There are multiple witnesses whose names have appeared publicly and should be included in any proceeding. The rush to a hearing is unnecessary and contrary to the committee discovering the truth." Nancy Cordes reports.
I'd really want to see her. I really would want to see what she has to say.
President Trump urged Kavanaugh's accuser today to testify, but rejected her request for an investigation first.
Well, it would seem that the FBI really doesn't do that.
Democrats said the FBI does.
Excuse me, this is their job. This is their job. They vet all of our nominees.
Should the FBI investigate the allegations?
As Judge Brett Kavanaugh prepped for the hearing today, Blasey Ford, a California psychologist, remained in hiding after accusing him of assaulting her at a high school party. Alabama Democrat Doug Jones.
The woman who has come forward, who is receiving death threats now, has had to move out of her home, and it seems like the only thing that we hear from the Republicans on the other side and the president is poor Judge Kavanaugh.
Samantha Gary is one of Ford's former classmates.
So I think she's holding up admirably, but this is a very trying, frightening time for her.
Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley offered Ford a buffet of ways to tell her story.
Either in an open session or a closed session or a public or a private interviews. That's 4 different ways she can choose to come.
But Republicans oppose the one option Democrats say would lead to the truth.
What's wrong with allowing an FBI investigation?
I don't have enough information to make that determination. I don't have any information.
But isn't that why you do an FBI investigation?
That's why you do a public hearing.
The FBI did examine Anita Hill's harassment claims against Clarence Thomas in 1991.
These FBI reports are extremely important.
In an interview today, Hill said a hearing is worth little without a probe first.
The hearing questions need to have a frame, and the investigation is the best frame for that, a neutral investigation that can pull together the facts.
CBS News chief congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now from Capitol Hill. Nancy, Blasey Ford says she will not testify without this FBI investigation. So why are Republicans opposing that idea?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. The ones that they give publicly, Errol, are that, first of all, the Judiciary Committee conduct this investigation itself. They say they have trained investigators on the committee for this very reason, and that those investigators are actually already on the case, and they're making calls and they're trying to line up interviews with some key potential witnesses. They know, however, that an FBI probe would be lengthy. It could be unpredictable, and that is what Republicans are trying to avoid here, because they know that they're pushing up against a deadline. We've got a midterm election coming up in a month and a half. There is a possibility that Democrats could take control of the Senate, and so Republicans don't want to take that risk. They want to wrap things up now. They want to be in control of the process. Beyond that, they argue that the FBI has already done its background check. In fact, the FBI has done 6 background checks when it comes to Judge Kavanaugh. Each time he's moved up the ladder in the federal government. And so they say the FBI has already done exhaustive work. If there's more to be done, they argue they can do it themselves.
And based on that thinking, Senator Grassley, the chairman, is still pushing forward with efforts to hold this hearing. He's effectively set a deadline for Dr. Ford. If she does not testify, does Judge Kavanaugh still get his vote next week?
That's what Republicans are saying right now. But I have to tell you, Errol, that this has been an incredibly fluid process, and there are a lot of things that are still up in the air. Right now, Republicans are holding firm. They're saying she has until Friday to decide whether she's willing to come and testify on Monday. But they haven't said what exactly will happen to that hearing if she decides not to testify. Would Judge Kavanaugh still come? He says he wants to, and testify himself. He says he's interested in having a chance to defend himself. So would they go ahead with that hearing just with him? And then in the wake of that hearing, if it happens, will Republicans decide to hold a vote in the Senate Judiciary Committee in the early part of next week? All of this was sort of thrown into doubt when these allegations came out just a few days ago. Before that, they were planning to vote tomorrow. So they're still scrambling and trying to figure out exactly how they should proceed.
Yeah, all of this really just came to light on Sunday as far as the details and the doctor kind of being named publicly. Meanwhile, you have President Trump telling reporters Wednesday Democrats have known about the outline of these allegations for 3 months. He's accusing them of obstruction. You mentioned that Republicans are holding firm. How are Democrats responding to the president's claim?
Sure. Well, they say that, yes, there were a couple of Democrats, notably Dianne Feinstein, the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, who did get this letter about a month and a half ago. But at the time, they say the alleged victim asked that her name be kept secret. And so they said there really wasn't much that they could do with the information that she was providing them because they wanted to protect her anonymity. Republicans argue that's fine, but you could have still shared the allegations with us. You still could have asked Kavanaugh about this in a roundabout way. And they accuse the Democrats of just looking for a way to drag this confirmation out. Because as much as Republicans want to wrap it up quickly, Democrats are holding out hope that they can somehow string Kavanaugh along long enough for them to potentially pick up a couple of seats in the Senate, retake control of the Senate, and then, of course, it would be a whole new day. So you've got both sides with some very plain political motivations here that are diametrically opposed.
Fascinating, and all of this happening at a really critical moment politically. In a radio interview, Senator Susan Collins of Maine said she doesn't see why this hearing should not go forward. Her vote, of course, key to his confirmation should it get out of committee. What do the senator's remarks tell us about where some of the opinions are on the more moderate areas of the Senate?
They tell us that if Democrats were banking on Susan Collins and perhaps her fellow moderate Lisa Murkowski to put their foot down and say, this woman deserves a full investigation, we really can't do this to her, railroad through a hearing, we've got to do this right, well, they can probably give up on that hope. Collins is of the view, she said in that radio interview, that Ford has a number of different ways now that she can tell her story to the committee. She can attend that public hearing. She can do an interview with committee staffers privately. And so Collins is advising Ford to take one of those opportunities. And she seems to be content with that. She does not seem to need an investigation. And so, the signal that all of this sends, because we still don't know officially where Collins and Murkowski come down, it certainly sends the signal that they are all but ready to vote yes, Errol, because if they had deep concerns about this nominee, if they wanted more time, they've got the power as two Republican holdouts who can block his nomination. They would have had the power to say, hold up.
All right, fascinating stuff. We'll wait and see what the next twist and turn will be. Nancy Cordes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.